Hello and welcome to Spoilers Intended, a podcast about series and films. We are doing quick reactions, 15 minutes for Acolyte Season 1, Episode 3. And I'm only joined by Steven this week because Ryan is unfortunately indisposed. So welcome, Steven. And we got 15 minutes on the clock.
It's just me and you, baby. I started the timer.
Yeah, no one else wanted to join us for this one. So
we should have made Nick wake up. He was texting us at like 4 a.m. He's got a little jet lag. Make him join us.
All right, here we go.
Oh, goodness.
15 minutes on the clock. Oh, we are? Okay.
We're going. We're already 15 seconds in. You're wasting time right now.
Oh, man. So this is turning into just a show of a show?
Yeah, I don't. So I want to get your opinion on this, right? Because this is my thinking. Me personally, right? Because we talked in the prior quick reaction with seasons 1 or episodes 1 and 2. That they kind of like they didn't hide the reveal or anything. They just hand you everything out front.
Yes. And then they just kind of do it again.
Yeah. So how do you feel about this episode? Because watching it, I was like, okay, this whole episode's a flashback. I would really have preferred that to have just been revealed piecemeal.
Over
bit by
the course
bit
of a season, yeah.
Yeah, because then it would have left, a lot of doubt as to what happened, because you only see so much.
And you also don't have the, I'll say the requirement to sit here and give us a whole episode, to where you can now split up this whole episode that they made and just give us the highlights of the things that are interesting, because there's a lot in this.
The bits and pieces. Let people speculate for a minute. Oh man, May, May was looking kind of Sithy here. I don't know how I feel about that. Like right off the gate. Or is she just born that way? I don't know. We'll find out next week. Like extend the conversation a little here and hold something a little closer to the vest, huh?
Yeah, because there was there's a lot of moments in this episode that just kind of maybe like, okay, yeah, sure, next,
yeah.
And stuff just kind of happens.
Obviously, we didn't preface it here, but this is full on spoilers. All of this is spoilers.
Yeah.
We haven't really handed out any spoilers other than it's a flashback episode, which isn't the end of the world.
But I definitely would have expected them to either pepper stuff in or make this reveal later on, because now now granted, we still have only seen the perspective of our unreliable narrator, because we were just following her. Clearly there's another side of the story that we haven't gotten yet. So
there are other pieces, right? So we see how the fire happens, right?
Well, we see how a fire started.
Exactly. We don't get the other half of what happened down below.
Because clearly there's a big explosion. There's some weird generator thing that just exists.
Presumably it's necessary for the operation. They didn't make it clear about how necessary it is.
OSHA should have been there, the actual organization. Because clearly, there's a lot of problems here.
Hey, that walkway had railings, though. A lot of them in Star Wars.
It did. That is true. So I think my biggest issue with this episode was when I look at this storytelling trope of basically like two twins that are kind of have like immaculate conception or whatever, and one is good, one's bad.
I think they made it pretty clear.
Well, not immaculate conception, but
the mother made it happen. She did something. And I don't know, Andrew, how familiar you are, because you go back to the prequels, right? Anakin is conceived through the Force or whatever.
Hypothetically, yes.
Right, and then in what I believe are canon comic books, they show Palpatine caused it to happen. So is it just a Sith ability? I don't know. I'm not. Yeah. None of us are really that deep into the lore.
Especially in comics and that kind of stuff. Where I'm just not.
But it's not. I'm not buying $3 every week or whatever it is. So
so where I was going with this was. This is I'd hate to always bring up anime in this, but if you go to a show called Trigun,
do you though?
There's a big reveal backstory between him and the main antagonist in the series, in episode 18 or whatever, and it happens in 22 minutes, and that 22 minutes is so much more compelling than the 40 minutes that we had here.
Yeah, something like that, upper 30s. I didn't look at the runtime, but.
It's basically the exact same story, to where hypothetically the person, the evil twin, decides to murder a bunch of everyone, and then is kind of left for dead-ish, and our protagonist gets kind of moves on.
But to me, this whole episode, they dropped a whole bunch of shoes, right? They dropped all the past, the fire, how a soul
kind of some of that, and just some of
the
how,
coven,
which I'm assuming is Dathomirian
Dathomir.
witches.
Yeah, I mean, well, you had at least one Dathomir in the frame, the other mother, right?
Yeah. Well, but are they? But I thought Dathomir, like they were like that's just like a specific sect. I don't know. I mean, clearly,
and we
I
already
don't
saw
know
some
enough
of
about
this
Star Wars lore.
with Ahsoka, right? As well, she has Dathomir in that as well.
Yeah.
So presumably, maybe there is some effort to kind of stitch some of this, so you can be like, oh yeah, I know about these people from
from
XYZ
some other
prior.
shows, that I've watched, I mean, like, I don't know how I feel about the show yet because it really hasn't even given us because clearly all the stuff that I thought we were going to have that were going to be like a episode long or multiple episode like length
stretched out
storylines. We've already gotten basically everything up revealed. So now what do we do?
They just spilled the tea here, right? Just poured it all out for you and like, hey, this is what happened. I mean, again, it was a very long flashback for it being the whole episode. We didn't get everything. We still don't know what happened down below, the source of the other fire, destruction, etc. Why the Jedi are there in the first place. We haven't had any clarification with that.
Well, I would also say that it's kind of crazy at the power dynamic of just Jedi show up and they're like, we're going to take your kids.
A little bit. I mean, like we haven't had the whole like Republic law laid out or any of that. Like it is a little like it's one of these things for like watching the Coven. You're like, oh yeah, that's a cult. We need to get her out of the cult. And the Jedi show up. You're like, this is also kind of a cult. It's just sponsored by the state. It's like Church of England versus another group. I don't know, Presbyterian. I don't know. Kind of call another group.
Protestant? No, they're Protestants.
That's not how it works. So that's what umbrella. But it's like, well, you're just state back. Does that make you more right? And of course, I think there was some internet chatter about the whole conception thing, and then also the different approach, which it's weird to me, right? Because she's like, it's a thread, and it binds us. It's like, well, this is basically the same thing we've heard about the Force forever. It's the same thing,
except they're just using different vocabulary.
They have their own vocabulary, so I don't see it. It's one of these things where I kind of almost wish that they would display like a different understanding of the Force, like they're only tapping into some part of it, so their perspective is that it's this and not the whole
not the whole thing, or the Jedi are only tapping into one specific part of it, and that's kind of the thing is like, because at this point, like just in Star Wars, like the Force is just kind of whatever you want it to be.
It's there,
but it would be really interesting to see like if they're actually utilizing a specific part of the Force that the Jedi don't utilize because maybe they're closer to like a dark side of the Force, but not necessarily evil.
Something, because like the concept here of, well, we want to further our bloodline, extend our lineage, and defend our knowledge and raise our children as we see fit. That's not really inherently evil, right? Like there's nothing about that. Like once we start stepping into Force possession of poor
Torben. Lieutenant Blake from 1917.
Yes. But once we start stepping into like Force possession, we're getting into a little bit of like, I was thinking we were going to get a little bit where like the Jedi, went a little rogue here. This is a little unjustified. Like we're getting real justifiable here real quick.
Well, that's the thing is like it, like in all of, especially in Republic stuff, all the Jedi have ever been have basically just been magic police is what it kind of feels like. But like they're more on the lines of they don't want to start a conflict, but then almost every single time that they get interjected into somewhere, it kind of happens anyways because
they're the spark that lights it off or whatever. Yeah.
So it
does seem to be the case, yes.
Like every time they just get like put in somewhere, they're like, "Hey, we're going to send you there just to check this out." And guess what? War started. Wow, that's crazy that happened. Now,
at least to maybe to the good, right? We did get a little bit with Osha where we saw her with her Jedi book, right? Where obviously she has some kind of, because I was kind of like, man, like these are kind of backwater hidden people.
Yeah, how does she know about the Jedi?
When you sign up for a cult, you don't necessarily get to know what's on CNN. Like how did she? But it's also one of those things where it's like, why are her parents? Like, is this contraband entirely that only like she and May know about? Like, I wish, again, if we had stretched this out over
the course of,
more pieces, I really think that like I think the first 2 episodes, I was good with them kind of putting everything up front to us because we were like, okay, well, if this isn't the big reveal, then they've got others, and they've got maybe some loaded weapons here. We're like, ooh, what's that going to be?
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, are we just gonna just fire all the cannons every time?
Just all, like where it kind of feels where each episode doesn't really have like this overarching tie besides like who's the bad guy.
Like, we know who these people are, therefore we know in the next episode they're this person. Like, like it's not as well connected as I would like it to be.
Yeah. I feel that we didn't get a ton of utilization of basically like any of like our really like hard hitting actors like Carrie-Anne Moss.
Yeah,
where
like
she
just really like.
Like she only had like 3 lines essentially in like half a conversation.
And maybe like because I don't think the kids are bad actresses.
No.
It's any degree. I think honestly, watching them have their conversation with you is just like, this is why I don't want kids.
It's like, well, this is just what 6-7-year-olds would be like. And
it's just like The Omen or something, except or no, was it The Good Son? The Good Son, that's it. Except in space.
Yeah.
Which is again, it's one of those. Well, I don't want kids. Kids are creepy, but they say the darndest things. Let me tell you. But yeah, I think, and maybe so here's the problem, right? Like, I don't want to say, oh well, we still need to know more about what happened down below, right? Why are all the Coven dead? Why is there another fire? Why?
And it's like they're all dead, like in a pile. Essentially,
it's almost kind of like they got poisoned or something. Actually,
like they got because it didn't look like there was any lightsaber wounds. That
no one and like they were all in one cluster. There was like one person by herself at the front, I think, and that was it. There's no real sign of a struggle per se.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird because like May doesn't seem like the character that would do that to murder everyone.
I mean, so
probably
maybe this is where we go. Maybe she murders. So like, other mother. I can't think of her name. Not the Dathomir, but
just mom.
So she is meeting with her council, right? And other mother, Coral or whatever, is not in there. And so they're making the decision of sending her away. Maybe that's who May is. Like, these people are betraying the witchhood or whatever, the Coven. And then now her master is going to be our Dathomir character somewhere down the line.
I mean, it's possible.
That's that's the best thread we get out of this, I think.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how they reveal the other half of this story. And I hope that they don't do it next episode. Like, I don't want that.
Don't say that. Don't bring that in. Don't speak that into being.
Because that's the thing is like this episode has a lot of interesting stuff in it, but I think that it would have been better interspliced over the course of 2 or 3 episodes.
Well, and also
to where it culminates in this big emotional payoff to where you have the reveal and then the other reveal where Osha is realizing that, the Jedi are bad because they were sent there to kill this
they had
entire
done something
Coven.
Before this. Like, all the people are bad. What if, well, like, to me, it's just one of those things where if presumably next week they just show the other half of this and it's a flashback. Well, when we come back, we're 3 weeks almost removed from that main storyline, which is again why you have to really work and do that interspersing, because otherwise we lose the plot. Like, we fumble. Where was she right now? I don't know.
Well, and then we only have 4 episodes left because it's only an 8-episode series.
Yeah, we're blowing through this.
Yeah, and obviously there's no guarantee that there's going to be a second season. We don't know where the story's going, so it may not even. Yeah. So it's just going to be interesting to see what they do next week, just because like they blew the whole backstory this time. Now, granted, this again was a limited point of view.
But the thing is, okay, so then flip that, right? Up to this point, we only get limited points of view as to what happened that night. Anyways, it was left shrouded in mystery. Yeah. So if you're going to reveal it and then still leave it as a hidden point of view, well, did we actually accomplish anything?
Anything?
You know what I mean? Like, we didn't really drive a whole lot forward. Again, if they had dropped like, okay, well, like Torben got possessed and he came back later because he's still mad about it or something. I don't know. Yeah. He flew off the handle, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. We're getting somewhere. Like give me a little bit.
Give us a reason to see like kind of where like everything cracks and breaks open, but we just don't have that yet.
And like, again, it's the whole like the Jedi coming and collecting children. We're not testing them. If they pass, we take them with us. Like, that feels really ick. But then when it's like, hey, we're taking these children from the group of women who are all chanting and invoking and possessing people, you might be doing these girls a favor.
Well, now I will say, I did like how Saul did the test for OSHA, to where he just kept saying correct, good. And then she was like, no, wait, haha, gotcha.
Yeah, gotcha. And then also the lightsaber bit. Like, there are good pieces in this, which, again, I just wish we had broken out.
Spread it out a little bit. Yeah, but, so I'm very curious at where they're going to go with this in the coming episodes.
Is our timer.
Oh, okay.
So that's 15 minutes right there. We covered a decent amount of ground. I think maybe we didn't hit the high. We hit kind of the lowlights here.
Yeah, I don't want to just sit here and beat it up. It's just. Yeah.
I think the soul parts are good because I think we are seeing that ultimately he is a good person and he has good intentions.
Yeah.
But we'll just have to see where that breaks. Because again, we got a lot of flashback and not a lot of
anything else
forward here.
Yeah. But that is all the time we have. So, obviously, if you want to keep listening to this, obviously every week we're going to have 15-minute reaction videos, probably with Ryan next week, more than likely.
So. Yeah, you can tune in and find out
if Ryan's here next week.
Well, if Ryan's here for one, but also if they stick the landing on episode 4. It's not anything bad about Ryan. He's just got stuff going on.
Yeah,
he's a raise, and
he's just indisposed this week. But seriously, check back every single week with us. We're going to be doing these 15-minute reacts. That's going to culminate in a full series review whenever the whole season finishes. And
you can check out all of our other content on spoilersintendedpodcast.com or wherever you find podcasts. Just search for Spoilers Intended. And we will catch y'all next week.
Yep. And that's it. We're Spoilers Intended. Every spoiler was intended. Question mark?